What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean Davis. We are here for another mock draft to react to. This is Sam Vecenie's latest mock draft from The Athletic. Been taking a couple of days off. I know we did post a couple videos, but took the week off and a few days off in general to finish building up the setup. Got a couple more things to add. Got my signed Paul Banchero jersey now in the background. Got some new equipment, some new lighting and stuff like that as well. We're still adding to it, but it's going to be fun. Really excited to show it off to you guys. Before we continue, make sure you guys do hit that like button and subscribe here to the channel. Really, really appreciate it. The goal, we really want to hit 2,000 subscribers by draft night. So we really, really appreciate it if you guys can subscribe here to the channel. And with that being said, let's get into this mock draft from Sam Vecenie. This is my first time, like, truly reacting to. I have not read through this mock draft yet. He does have Alex Sarr going to the Atlanta Hawks. So that is a spoiler right there, and he makes it official right here. Alex Sarr, number 1 overall to the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know why I sighed there for a second, because this is the right pick in my opinion. I think this gives you the most flexibility with your roster build going forward. You can either say, hey, you know what, we can't get what we want for Trae Young on the market, so we're going to go Trae Young and Alexander Sarr and say, screw it, we're going to be really, really good. You can rebuild around Sarr, Jalen Johnson, have a fun front court to build around. Now you're looking to add your guard, whether via trade or via free agency or the draft next season. So I really, really like this pickup. I think Alex Sarr, he's the number 1 player on my board. This is the correct move, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Washington Wizards taking Nikola Topic. So again, apparently Sam Vecenie is just watching my mock drafts, but this is the right decision, in my opinion, right? Nikola Topic is my number 1 guard in this draft class, who I mean, my favorite thing about Nikola Topic, outside of just the unreal feel for the game that he has and the way he could just go through his reads. I'm saying that like a quarterback, but that's kind of how it is to a certain extent, right? Where just his mental processor for the game with the ball in his hands is really, really fun to watch. But I think the biggest thing a lot of times that you see in younger guards, like he's only 18 years old, right? I think he'll be 19 by the start of next season. One of the things you see in younger guards a ton is they like to avoid contact a ton when, going and attacking the rim. Not with Nikola Topic. He is the exact opposite. He embraces the contact fluidly. It's really, really fun and really fascinating watching Nikola Topic play. I love his game a ton. Okay, this is where I start to disagree. Houston Rockets, 3rd overall, take Donovan Clingan. And on one side, I get it, and I don't even fault the player here. Like I right now, I'm just gonna stop like spoiling my draft board. On one side, like he's a top 10 player, he's a top 8 player. If we want to get even more technical, I think he's 7 on my board currently. I have a few more players to get to, obviously. Big board 1.0. While I'm at it with spoiling my big board. Big board 1.0 drops this week. Don't have a specific date, but it's going to drop this week. Donovan Clingan, 3rd overall. The player I don't mind. It's just the landing spot. I personally can't justify, and I hope he does here in a second. I just can't justify drafting a backup big with the 3rd overall pick. And I get it. Again, I'm going to do a whole video about like why I don't want to hear this freaking draft class being called a weak draft class anymore. But I just don't think in any draft class, in a weak draft class or not, I just don't think you can justify drafting a backup in the top 5, because that's what Clingan's going to be. Let's see what his reasoning is. Clingan's firmly in the mix along with the other players above him to go number 1. He was within the NBA's top 6 prospects in the memo to teams outlining who will be allowed access to his medical information. The Rockets traded Steven Adams for Steven Adams in the spring, but the veteran center only has 1 year left on his deal. That trade could be taken as a sign. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know. I would just I mocked Reed Sheppard here. I would just go Reed Sheppard here if I'm Houston. I know technically I'm being a hypocrite by saying don't draft for a backup, but let me be more specific long term, because Sengun's not going anywhere, right? Reed Sheppard, even though you'd be drafting to be a backup day 1, Reed Sheppard would eventually take over the point guard, presumably, right? Take over the point guard responsibilities. As long as Alfred Sengun is here, I don't think, unless they want to go back to and go super big, and maybe you can do that, right? And play Sengun at the 4. I don't know. I think they have too many wings to be able to do that too. Like guys that can play 3 and the 4. So I don't like this pick for Houston. I'm just going to disagree with that one. San Antonio Spurs, Zachary Risacher. Okay, Zachary Risacher, 4th overall to the San Antonio Spurs. And my thought process here was just go Ron Holland. But in some regards, I do understand this pick a little bit. Now you are penciling yourself in at 8 to go guard. If they don't take a guard at 8, I would personally be really, really upset. But I like it. I think Zachary Risacher still one of the higher upside players in this draft class. Has some Michael Porter Jr.isms to him. Now, he really, really struggled, as he does mention here, since January 31st. But you buy in on the upside, you buy in on the shooting ability and the defensive ability, stuff like that, right? I think you can get a really, really freaking valuable player, although he might only have like real off-ball upside. So even Mike Porter Jr. comp might be a little bit off, but I do like this a lot. Worthy gamble inside the top 5 with that. Detroit takes Matas Buzelis, and I can't get behind this pick whatsoever. Because I think the biggest thing that Detroit, if you're going wing, what they need is some shooting. And I just don't think that that's what Matas Buzelis provides. I think Matas Buzelis is a capable shooter, right? And let me see. Let's see if I can pull up my scouting report, if you will, my eval sheet, if you will, on Matas Buzelis. And I'm not gonna lie, I was relatively, I'm just gonna say underwhelmed. I think that's just the best way to describe how I felt watching Matas Buzelis. I was underwhelmed when I watched him. Right now, he's a really fun versatile chess piece offensively. They used him a lot in post-ups, some off-screen stuff, PNR spots, etc. I like his playmaking ability as a secondary creator. Really good rebounder. Has flashes as a weak side shot blocker, and which helps raise his ceiling as a defensive player. But the jumper is just not consistent enough right now. And I think Detroit is a piece away from convincing himself, hey, we can make a play-in push. And I think to get to that, you need somebody with some legitimate shooting upside. I don't think this is the play here. And honestly, if I'm Detroit, I'm kind of bummed out that Zachary Risacher got picked at 4. Maybe they have to reach or something like that, take like a don't connect here. I just don't like going Matas Buzelis here at 5. I think he has upside. My comp for Buzelis was Franz Wagner for the Orlando Magic. Good player, obviously, right? But there is some things that I think Matas Buzelis really needs to correct. And I'm just going to sway away from that pick. So a couple picks in a row that I'm not really a fan of. Zachary Risacher pick, I guess I was fine with. Charlotte Hornets, Stephon Castle, I love it. This is one of my favorite picks I've mocked in the past as well. Stephon Castle in the backcourt next to LaMelo Ball. Take some of the pressure off LaMelo Ball. Stephon Castle, really versatile chess piece. I love Stephon Castle a lot. I'm not even going to really overanalyze this pick. 7 to Portland is don't connect. Okay. Look at the board. I would have just taken Ron freaking Holland at this point. I don't appreciate the Ron Holland fall. Yeah, I would have just taken Ron Holland here at 7 personally. Like Ron Holland continuing to slip is a good sign for some teams here. Makes me think about San Antonio at 8. So anyway, don't connect. Really freaking good shooter. I love his versatility. He has the ability to put the ball down. He is actually a better athlete that I think he gets credit for. My pro comp for Don't Connect was Max Strus. I really like Don't Connect. And I think for Portland, he's gonna be a really good role player for them. I really, really do like Don't Connect. I just would have went Ron Holland there for Portland personally. Number 8, the San Antonio Spurs take Reece Sheppard. Okay, so San Antonio ultimately walks out with Zachary Risacher and Reece Sheppard. I mean, A+ draft from the San Antonio Spurs. That's the one thing that I will say, though. I just don't see how the Spurs can jack this draft up. You have the 4th pick and the 8th pick, and the teams that are picking between you at 5, 6, and 7 are honestly the most beneficial teams to have picking between you at 5, 6, and 7, in my opinion. So, yeah. Now, I will say this. If I'm San Antonio, I don't know. I'm not even going to go to that. San Antonio ends up with a haul. Reece Sheppard. I mean, you want to talk about feel for the game, insane feel for the game, ridiculous jump shooter. I mean, that Mississippi State game, I'm glad Sam Vecenie brings it up here. That Mississippi State game, just wow, right? That was one of the games I did evaluate. I try to evaluate for sure, like the player's best game to try to get a feel like, all right, at their best statistical game, right? At their best, what does it look like? And that Mississippi State game from Reed Sheppard was just incredible. High level shot making, high level playmaking ability. He's a smart defender, gets a bunch of steals a game as well. Like he is a smaller guard, yes, but the basketball IQ, the shot making, the playmaking ability, whoo-wee. San Antonio, you got a good one. Number 9, Memphis Grizzlies. Wow. Ron Holland falls to Memphis. Okay. I'm not even going to, at this point, it doesn't even matter, right? Because Memphis is more in a retool where last year sucked, but next year they're going to be really, really good. You throw Ron Holland on that team where there's not a bunch of expectations from him right away. He can just sit and develop. And when Ron Holland is ready, you are throwing him into a team already with John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. That team is going to be freaking scary. There is some stuff he still needs to work on, but the jumper, he looked way more comfortable with it in the second half of the season, or second half of his season, rather. I feel really confident that Ron Holland's going to turn out being one of the 5 best players in this draft class. I feel like if Ron Holland ended up at Texas too, I feel like some of the G League Ignite stuff did actually hurt him this season, if that makes sense. I'm going to go, I'm not going to go Ron Holland. Ron Holland goes to 9 at Memphis. I mean, A+ winner of the draft, I think, along with San Antonio. So, yeah, great pick for them. Utah takes Rob Dillingham. And I don't like the pick. I think there's too much like skill set duplication with Keontae George to a certain extent. Now, I get it. You need 2, guards anyway to kind of do. I can't get behind this pick. I'm sorry. I'm trying to rationalize it in my brain. I just can't come to the conclusion. If you want to go guard, go Isaiah Collier, who I think for Utah might just be the better dude and has a different skill set, I think, than Keontae George. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't like no. And then he has Chicago tickets. Isaiah Collier. Can we stop mocking guards to the Chicago Bulls? Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, who's coming back, whatever. Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Javon Carter, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. That's 6 guards. You are drafting Isaiah Collier to get buried in the bench. No. Give this team a freaking wing. I can't justify that. But Cody Williams is right here. Throw Cody Williams on that Bulls team. I'm sorry, guy. I that's been one of my biggest pet peeves throughout this draft cycle is people drafting a guard to the Chicago Bulls. They will be one of my least graded drafts if Chicago ultimately ends up with the guard, unless it's something stupid like Reed Sheppard still there. I just can't, or Topic falls or something crazy, right? I just can't get behind that. Yeah. Cody Williams, number 12, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's fun, right? He gets to play with his brother. There's some similarities, actually, ironically, right, to his brother J-Dub. I'm kind of getting behind the idea of the Thunder taking a guy like Zach Edey at 12, and just adding another big to that team. They would be a team that, like, if Klingon somehow fell, holy hell, yes, please. That's not going to happen. But even Eve's Missy. So I love Cody, best player available right now, unless I'm missing somebody. But yeah, I would maybe argue you go get a big and try to, help Chet out a little bit more. I'm recording this right after the Mavs Thunder game too, so that game is freshly in my mind. Game 6 of that series, where down the stretch, Derek Lively just outplayed Chet Holmgren by a lot, in my opinion, especially on the boards. Got a crucial and one lane in that game as well. So fine pick. Cody Williams is a really fun player. I have him as a top 10 graded player on my board. 13, Sacramento Kings, Jared McCain. One of my favorite picks in this draft class is Jared McCain to the Sacramento Kings. A pretty good replacement to Malik Monk, although not the same type of player, not the shifty guard, obviously, that Malik Monk is, but I think he actually is better than he's getting credit for. I think he has more playmaking upside than he gets credit for. I think he's a really good finisher at the rim. He grades out really, really well in terms of like finishing ability at the rim, even though he is a below the rim finisher. And obviously, probably the best guard 3-point shooter in this draft class. There's a couple other guys too, like, you have Bub Carrington, who's one. There's a couple other dudes, but Jerry McCain, the efficiency, Reed Shepard, too, obviously. But Jerry McCain, 13. I like this a lot for Sacramento. Tadon Saloon to the Portland Trail Blazers at 14. I like this a lot. 6'9" wing that has great 3-and-D upside. And I think does need a lot of time to develop, but super, super smooth shot. And I think this is a fun, just stash and develop pick for the Portland Trail Blazers. Miami, Devin Carter. Again, I've actually another popular pick of mine. Like, this is the Heat culture pick. You need some backup, like sustainability, if you will, for your point guard room. Devin Carter's the guy that's going to come in I think he measures 6'3" with a 6'8" wingspan. I could be wrong about that, but Devin Carter, a guy that I was actually lower on at the start of this draft cycle. Where if you had told me a month ago that Devin Carter inside the top 20, I would have probably called you insane. But I am getting around to the idea a lot more. I like Devin Carter a ton. Really, really good player. Good athlete. I do have some question marks about him still, but honestly, my question marks about him was because of him as a number one option for Providence, where that's not what he's ever going to be at the NBA level, especially here in Miami. Such a great fit, and this is going to be a really good pick for the Miami Heat. Next up, 76ers, Jacoby Walter. Okay, I can get behind this pick. A probably best player available pick, a guy that's going to come in. I compared him a lot to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and 6'4". I think he measured actually 6'5". I have to go back and fact check that, but I bought into the defense down the stretch. It was really, really, a problem, and I'm glad that he mentions it here. Defensively, Walter struggled at times to stay in front of players, especially at the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season, that was a real problem where just couldn't stay in front, has some lapses off ball as well. But I thought down the stretch, he really kind of locked in and bought in more on that defensive side, on the defensive side of the floor. He has all the physical tools, in my opinion, to do it as well. I guess my biggest thing with Jacoby Walter is I just can't get behind the star upside, which I think some people have said. I like Jacoby Walter. I really like this pickup for the Philadelphia 76ers. Next up, you got the Lakers taking Kyle Filipowski. This is another JHS situation for me from last season where, okay, I guess, but I just don't like this pick. There's 3 other bigs I would actually prefer a little bit more, I think, for the Lakers over Kyle Filipowski, like a Yves Missy, like a Kel'el Ware, like a Deron Holmes. All 3 big. I mean, if we want to go other positions, Tristan Del Silva, Ryan Dunn, there's just other better options, in my opinion, than taking Kyle Filipowski at 17. I refinished my eval. I had to go back and rewatch him and regrade him and stuff like that. Like, fine player. My pro comp for him was Kelly Olynyk. He has some fun defensive versatility and stuff like that. I think offensively, he's a really fun chess piece. I just don't like the fit. I don't agree with the pick here at 17. I just don't like the pick at 17. Number 18, Tristan Del Silva. Again, another fun pick. I think I mocked this my most recent mock draft. A guy, a lot of people say he reminds him of Kyle Kuzma. That's interesting. I had to go redo my eval on him. I watched him super earlier on and never finished it, but a really, really fun player, really freaking good shooter, smart basketball IQ dude that is going to keep him on the floor. Don't think you can get him off the floor. Really good defensive guy. I think Orlando gets a big need here with the shooting and the defensive IQ and awareness, stuff like that. Just so see at 18 to Orlando. I love it. 19, Toronto Raptors take Yves Missy. This is in a world where I think they were like, okay, we can let Jakob Poeltl kind of go. I can kind of get behind that. Yves Missy, a fun player in my opinion. Shot blocking, lob threat, rim protecting, athletic freak, big. Like this pickup a lot. Not going to go too much in depth here. I do like this pickup a lot. Cleveland Cavaliers take Bub Carrington. Okay, so Cleveland taking Bub Carrington. As a matter of fact, if I go back, honestly, I thought Orlando or Toronto would have probably been better spots for Bub Carrington personally, just based off of fit and stuff like that. But although you could say that both teams, Cleveland could also use a backup point guard. I think that Bub Carrington, for one, I think he needs to be in a spot where he can develop. And maybe Cleveland is that, where Cleveland could just stash him for a year, let him develop, let him play, and get a lot of his stuff out in the G League and things like that. Because if he hits, oh man, he's going to be a super fun player. I think you need to get him in the building and boost his strength up and stuff like that. He does have some flaws in this game, mostly the strength, like I said, because he can get to the rim. I don't think he can create a bunch of separation either, but the shot making ability, stuff like that, is really, really fun. And even the playmaking ability as well. Super, super fun player that Cleveland would get. The Pelicans take Zach Edey, and that's how you replace Jonas Valanciunas, I suppose. All right. Now, Sam Vecenie says, I'd rather have a center who can shoot from three next to Zion Williamson, and then says Edey's the best big on the board. Oh, Khalil Ware's still there. And I think even if you think Edey's the better player, the gap isn't big enough to say, yeah, okay, we really want a center who can shoot the three. Go take Khalil Ware. Anyway, Zach Edey, super intriguing. One of the most polarizing players in this draft class, like not named Bronny James, right? But Zach Edey, a guy that is a just insane rim protector, man, and really good just screen setter. Honestly, probably the best screen setter in all of college basketball, right? Good drop coverage defender. I would have just went with a guy like Khalil Ware for the Pelicans. Johnny Furphy, 22 here to the Phoenix Suns. Still kind of raw in my opinion, but I think he is a good athlete, is a really, really good shooter. His Big 12 stretch of play was really, really fun. A fine pick. I would have liked a guy like a Tyler Collette here. I would have liked a couple other selections here for Phoenix. Johnny Furphy at 22. I'm not going to fault it, however. Next up, the Milwaukee Bucks go with Pacome Didier. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He has a really, really fun offensive game. I think that with Pacome Didier, he's a guy that has some upside and some versatility. I think day one, the shot needs to come around, right? Still a little bit, right? And as Sam says here, good cutter, stuff like that. Need to finish my film stuff on Pacome Didier as well, but really, really fun player and good upside pick for Milwaukee. 24 and 25, we're going to package these picks. I freaking love both of these picks for Toronto, for New York, man. Tyler Collette and Deron Holmes, two of my guys in this draft process. Tyler Collette, he has a comparison for him as TJ McConnell. Mine was Goran Dragic, but I can kind of get behind TJ McConnell a little bit. And then you pair that with Deron Holmes. Like, this is just two day one ready guys. You might be losing Isaiah Hartenstein this summer as well. Super freaking fun players to add. You get your backup point guard potentially in the room to go facilitate the floor. Get your TJ McConnell, if you will, especially after this Pacer series, what they just witnessed. And then you get to Deron Holmes, who is just a super fun pick and pop big that has some playmaking ability, that is a good shot blocker, can shoot the three, stuff like that. He's a fun basketball player. I like that pick a lot for New York. Shout out to the Sam Vecenie. They're killing it for the Knicks. Washington goes with Bobby Clement. What is with this Khalil Ware slide? Did I miss him? Because if I'm Washington and Khalil Ware is on, did I truthfully miss him? Okay, wow. No, I did not. Okay, if I'm Washington, I'm taking Khalil Ware then. Like, you end up, and I feel like I'm lower on Khalil Ware, but I mean, at this point, man, just take Khalil Ware. You get to pair that dude with Nikola Topic. That's a steal of the draft if you're Washington. I mean, you have Ron Holland and the package that San Antonio got ultimately, but still. Bobby Clement's a fun player. I had a late first round grade on him last year. Solid 3-point shooter, has the size and frame and just physical build to be a really, really good NBA defender. Just a typical 3-and-D NBA wing. Okay, the Minnesota Timberwolves take Hunter Salas, and I understand it, right? You're more so thinking about Mike Conley's long-term replacement potentially, right? And I think Hunter Salas is a fun player, a guy that is not afraid to shoot the three ball. Really, really improved this season. Shot 41.6% from three this season. Fun guard that I think I have a second-round grade on personally, but I do understand it for Minnesota. Denver takes Alex Caravan, who is a just freak shooter. Like, he is a ridiculous shooter. in a team setting a really good defender. A lot of times he popped on film when you go watch a Donovan Clingan and a Stephon Castle or Tristan Noon. He's the guy that pops on film a ton. I like Alex Garabin. Denver, not in the Khalil Ware market. I'm actually trying to think here. Like, is Clarewell, Tyler Smith, Jalen Tyson? Okay, so we have to keep going. Tyler Smith to the Utah Jazz, fun fit, good upside pick. I mocked him in the 20s actually, right? So this pick is a lot of fun. Has some upside defensively, has the frame and stuff like that. Insane wingspan, really fun offensive chess piece. Throw that into the system of Will Hardy. Why not? And then Boston at 30, they take Jalen Tyson, a pick I've also kind of come around to. And with Jalen Tyson, a really good shot creator that has the upside as a defender as well. Don't really need him to be a high leverage playmaker or anything along those lines. So I do like this pick for the Boston Celtics. Ryan Dunn to Toronto. That's a slam dunk if you're at Toronto. Toronto, you end up with Yves Missy. Is that right? Yeah, you end up with Yves Missy and Ryan Dunn at 31. Hell yeah. Keyshawn George to Utah. So Keyshawn George, Rob Dillingham, and Tyler Smith. That's a fun haul. Milwaukee gets Khalil Ware at 33. So Milwaukee ends up with Pacum Dadiet and Khalil Ware. That's a fun haul. Kim Christie to Portland. Cam Spencer, the other Connecticut guard. AJ Johnson, a draft favorite of mine. Oso DeGiaro, draft favorite of mine. Dylan Jones to Spurs. Spurs getting a haul. Pacers get AJ Mitchell, who I ironically compared him to. And they get KJ Simpson. AJ Mitchell, KJ Simpson. AJ Mitchell, who I compared to Andrew Nembhard. So that's fun. And then the Lakers get Aldrich Chomchi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I like that pickup for the Lakers. Nick Clifford, also. Colorado State goes to Dallas Mavericks. So Jalen Bridges to Memphis as well. That's another steal. So a fun mock draft to react to. A lot of stuff that I'm kind of just surprised about, if we're being completely honest here. But thank you guys so much. Ooh, that looks weird. We're going to not do that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this mock draft reaction video. Like I said, Big Board 1.0 drops this week on the channel. Going to be doing some more player-specific breakdowns here in the coming weeks as well here on the channel. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit the thumbs up button for more great content. Till next time, everybody. See ya, stay safe, and peace out.